Optimize your nutrition this year with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal service. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved, ready to eat in just 2 minutes. Choose from 40 weekly options across 8 dietary preferences, like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Eat smarter at factormeals.com/listen50 and use code LISTEN50 for 50% off, plus free shipping on your first box. Factormeals.com/listen50, code LISTEN50.
This is the Weekly Scramble, a place where we chat about life over a cold one or two. It's time to belly up to the pod with Mike Fratelloni and your host, Chris Reavers.
Yes, sir. It's time for the Weekly Scramble podcast. My name is Chris Reavers. By my side, his name is Mike Fratelloni. Hello, Michael.
How you doing, Reavers?
You know what? I am doing awesome.
You are?
I really am.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool to hear.
So one of the things that I wanted to bring up with you, and normally when we do our extensive pre-show meeting, we talk, we kind of throw things at each other. But I wanted to bring this up organically with you because I know you know the story, and I know you're going to have really, really good thoughts on it.
You're not going to surprise me with something I have no idea.
No. You are
like
going
in
to.
1971, there was a baseball team that had a left-handed pitcher.
I wouldn't do something like that.
Sure you wouldn't.
Because here's the thing: I know my guy.
Yeah.
Like I know you, and I know you'll have a reaction to this. And I saw that when I first saw this story. Here's the thing, Mike. I didn't even give this story to Joe.
Okay.
I saved this for us.
Ooh.
Okay.
I'm excited.
So you are familiar with the great area of Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So this story surfaced, was it yesterday? What was the 5th?
Couple days, 3 days ago.
Today's the 3 days ago.
We're recording on the 8th.
I love this story so much. And here's why I love this story so much. This story could not possibly scream more, you live in 2025.
Oh, good.
Are you ready?
Sure.
A sleek 63-foot yacht that nearly sank off Miami Beach on Saturday was packed with social media influencers that had 32 people on board when it started taking on water, officials said.
Okay.
Not familiar?
No.
Oh, I thought you would
No,
be.
Okay,
don't look.
keep going.
You got to listen. This is so
Yeah.
great. The U.S. Coast Guard said the boat started taking on water near Monument Island. Is it in Biscayne Bay? Biscayne Bay?
Biscayne Bay, yeah.
Biscayne Bay on Saturday afternoon. Now, again, quick aside. I know that you know the area well.
Sure.
And I know that you know you love to boat. You love everything about this. So this happened on Saturday afternoon, prompting a search and rescue response from its Sector Miami unit. All 32 people on board were rescued or evacuated without any reported injuries, Petty Officer 3rd Class Nicholas Strasberg said. We were able to get on scene and thankfully get all these people, these 32 individuals off this vessel taking on water with no medical concerns reported, he said.
Nice.
The boat apparently didn't hit bottom. The Coast Guard responders used airbags to raise it and keep it afloat outside boat lines until its owner makes a decision on its destiny with the help of a salvage company. Because multiple social media influencers were on board, the aftermath included plenty of videos. One video shows some of those on the boat maintaining a nonchalant attitude, with one man joking the vessel had hit an iceberg, Titanic style.
Nice.
Onlookers on other vessels also captured video of the struggling yacht, which appeared to be sinking stern first as some of those aboard grabbed onto it. Anyway, I love this. The passenger capacity for the model in question, the Technomar Lamborghini 63.
Ooh, that's a nice boat.
Varies. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
the photos.
yeah.
Varies because it is highly configurable for each buyer. One for sale in the area has listed capacity at 12. A new one at a dealer in North Miami Beach lists its capacity at 16. Passenger capacity can also depend on layout, comfort considerations, and whether the boat's owners prioritize speed. All, however, have 24 tons of capacity, which experts say is generally a better guide for a boat's ability to handle weight. The Miami Herald reported on Monday that the boat is the same as a 2023 model listing for sale at $4.7 million and featuring a seating capacity of 12. Here's why I love this story so much. Let me just finish the last two paragraphs here. The listing states the boat is not for sale in the U.S. waters to a U.S. resident. It's not clear why. A contact for the listing sale had blah, blah, blah. The publication said the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is investigating the cause of incident. Well, I can tell you the cause of incident.
What do you think it is?
So if you see any of, you're now looking at.
I'm looking at some pictures now.
So now, the reason I found it hilarious is you can literally see all of these, and they're all beautiful. They're all 20 to 30-year-old gorgeous women, influencers on social media that all were trying to get the perfect selfie in this beautiful bay on this beautiful yacht to post on their TikTok, on their Instagram, on their whatever. And I'm thinking, not one of these deadhead dumbasses realizes you're about to freaking drown.
Well, are they? Are they about to drown?
The ship is sinking.
So what? It doesn't go down. Okay, a couple of things about this story.
Talk to me.
That boat sleeps 12, probably. The capacity is not 12 people. Hell, what guy who buys a $4 million Lamborghini boat only wants his choice of 1 in 11 extra chicks?
Okay, fair.
Right? So he wants to have 12 different beds to maybe take them to, but surely having 30 people on this boat is not a big deal if the capacity is 24,000 tons. Right?
Okay, so the fact that it looked like there was more than 30.
Yeah, but I thought you read there was 30.
There was 32 on board at the time of it sinking, which means I think some had started
jumped
to see,
off.
oh, God, this thing's going down. We got to get out of here.
And then if you look closely, they're only about 100 yards off the shore. So somebody could have just, in the beautiful Biscayne Bay, jumped in the water and said, I'm just going to go swim those 100 yards.
I know the area vaguely. I know you know it vastly better than I do. Where is the Biscayne Bay? Okay, because I didn't.
Just right outside.
Okay, because I'm trying to picture it. I'm going to guess it's beautiful. I'm going to guess it's picturesque.
Yeah, you got all the big condo buildings looking right down on the bay.
Okay.
And Fort Lauderdale is a huge boating area.
Sure.
Right? In fact, we know somebody that has a very big boat that they keep in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
And it's a really cool one.
In fact, I ran into him today.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Was it your performance review?
No. Trust me, I'm not meeting with him.
You're not getting that high.
He barely knows I work here.
But it's really it's a lovely spot to go boating. I have not been down there on any of these major yachts, but this Lamborghini boat, I've seen this boat before because I'm a Lamborghini fan. I like the fact that it is the Lamborghini label.
I knew I could spring this story.
I just wonder, do you think of the 32 influencers that were on, let's just pretend there was a total of 32 influencers on, and it was split half boys, half girls, right? 16 each. Do you think the boys said, hey, ladies first, please step off. Let's go ahead. And do you think any of the influencers were super feminists? We're like, I don't need to go first. It's like, oh, okay, I'll go ahead and take your spot for you. I'll let you go down with the ship, right?
See, here's where I thought you were going. No, ladies, we'd like all of you to get on there first, knowing that it was going to sink and it'd be a wet T-shirt contest.
Oh.
See, that's where I thought you were going.
Okay, so go back to the Titanic, right? And now,
why not?
Picture the Titanic happening now. And of the couple thousand people that were on that Titanic,
who'd be taking selfies?
There's 50 transgender people, right? And do you think at some point in time, when they're trying to split up the men and the women, that someone said, I identify. I'm 90% sure you have to stay on the boat with us, sir. Right? Or I'm 90% sure you were pretending you were a man or transition to a man. Right. You get to stay with us. How does that work during the time? That's why, Reavers, when I hear the sensibilities of that joke about talking about the Titanic and today's gender confusion, right? And God bless people that have gender confusion. I really feel some sort of sympathy to them. That would be very, very difficult, right?
Sure.
But when we pick the new pope, and if you haven't heard yet, we have a brand new pope. Very exciting.
Chicago guy.
A Chicago guy. That is a mistake. Because you know what great moral and ethical and logical things come out of Chicago? Not one freaking thing.
Not much.
They should have picked an Italian who's lived with his mean mother here his entire life, who has a little bed in a room that he makes every day instead of a Chicago pope. I don't know anything about this guy from Chicago, the new pope. Yeah. I respect him. Don't get me wrong. But this is one of the first, if not the first American to be the pope. So I should have known that. We're all just learning as we go. But
we're flying blind.
We're flying a little blind. Speaking of blind, did you see all those nuns that were just at the blind nuns?
No, I did not.
They were just a bunch of Roman Catholics. Roman Catholics.
Got it.
I've been waiting my entire life to use that joke, and you finally brought up, we're flying blind. I'm like, wait, I got a blind Catholic joke. Okay, so anyways.
Back to the boat.
Back to the boat and back to the new papacy, right? The new pope. I do think it's not America's time to pick the next pope. Not pick the next pope, but to be
honored
pope.
with the next pope.
Yes,
yeah.
I just don't think it's our time. I think we should have maybe gone to Asia, maybe stuck with Italy, Spain, Portugal, someplace in Europe.
Okay.
Right? What do you think of that? Do you think he's going to, and I haven't heard anything about him, maybe he's very, very religious. Or maybe he's like, well, in Chicago, we like to do this, and...
I guess I never know... I don't know how to... I never know what is the right or what is the wrong decision, right? Mm-hmm. Because, yes... I was born and raised Catholic. I still follow Catholic. I go to church. I do all that. Am I going to be offended one way or the other? I'm not really going to be offended one way or the other.
No, but if he changes the course and direction.
But I don't think he will, because here's the thing. There's so many layers to this. He was selected on behalf of 600,000 different people voting for this, right? So he's going to do the bidding of the people that put him in this position in the first place.
Or he's going to become pope. And then he says, my sensibilities lie in the people that I remember that I've lived with in Chicago. And what I'm saying
Vinny.
is, you can't be far right. You can't be a right-sided, I'm air quoting the word right-sided conservative Catholic, and be from Chicago, right? Maybe America in general, our most right Catholics aren't very right anymore, right?
Sure.
But Italian Catholics, they might go to church every day still. They might do the rosary every day, right? But a guy from Chicago, granted, he's up there. He's up there. He's in the game.
But he's 60. Was it 8 or 69 years old?
Yep.
I mean, what harm is he going to do? Are you thinking he's going to start turning it into Studio 54? Like, what are you worried about?
Well, the last pope people had some big problems with.
That's true.
Right?
No, that's true.
And that last pope English was not his first language. This guy's lived in Chicago. Chicago's a liberal town. He might have liberal views.
Deep dish pizza?
He might be in favor of that, right? So all that thin crust Italian pizza that they could have had if they would have gotten an Italian pope is going to go out the door.
Out the window.
Yeah.
Completely
I don't know.
Window.
I mean, God forbid he's a Cubbies fan. What if he's a Cubs fan?
We actually learned today during the Garage Logic podcast
Yes.
that apparently he is a Cubs fan.
See?
And I had joked and said, yes, and he's been one since 2016.
Yeah, there you go.
When they won the World Series.
You know what I want is I want my popes to be fans of European soccer, and they call it football. And all Americans get confused. We're like, I don't really know what he means. And he's like, obviously soccer, the world game soccer.
We're not talking about the Bears.
We're not talking about the Bears. We don't care about the Cubs. He's above America. Now this guy's entrenched. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I have a 99.9% chance he's going to fail. He's going to disappoint us some way. Let me give him the benefit of the doubt. He hasn't technically started yet, right?
True. He's on the clock.
He's still and you know what he's going to do? Like the white smoke that came out of the conclave. He's like, this happens in every car that I drive by in Chicago because we have free weed in Chicago. It's like, wait, Pope, we're not doing that across the world. We don't want
THC.
that. Yeah, we don't need that everywhere.
Are we pushing the boundaries of how many Pope jokes we can make in one particular
I don't know if it's a Pope
episode?
joke. It's a true concern.
Okay.
If you're a religious Catholic, you got to have something sacred. And maybe this guy, maybe the Pope.
What if he upholds that?
100%. That would be great.
Okay.
You don't normally find guys from Chicago to do that.
So you don't think then that the new Pope, it's Pope Leo the 14th is
I like
what
it.
I think.
That's the name he picked,
in
right?
fact, we haven't used, as we discovered earlier today, Rookie was the one, oddly enough, that made this discovery, that Leo has not been used in over 100 years. So it was, I think, going back to like 1908. Off the top of my head. So we're going back to Leo the 14th. So you don't think Leo the 14th, he's not in danger of taking a selfie on a sinking Lamborghini off of the Biscayne Bay in St. Petersburg?
No.
Or Fort Lauderdale, excuse me.
You know
Fort
why he
Lauderdale.
picked Leo?
Tell me.
Because his favorite actor is Leo DiCaprio. Right? What if that's the actual case, Reavers? Americans would be that dumb.
Does he pick the name, or is the name assigned to him?
No, I think he did. I think he got to pick it.
Okay.
Yeah. Or he's a Leo. That's what he said. Well, actually, I'm a Leo. My sign's a Leo.
I got to tell you, if I'm picking a name, Leo DiCaprio is probably number one on the top of the list for me.
It's pretty not bad. Just to be accidentally thought of as someone like, oh, are you Leo DiCaprio? Oh, no, but
I can be.
Yeah, but I can be.
Tonight right? I can be.
Yeah, I'm totally excited for this new pope. I can't tell you how excited I am. I'm 100% going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'll pray for him, and I hope he does all the right things. And I just worry that the sensibilities of American morals and the moral decay in America might just be something that the rest of the world might say, oh, we don't want to do that. We're not doing that everywhere else.
Okay.
You leave that to America.
Oh, I knew once I brought up one subject, we were going to successfully transition into multiple topics. And that, my friends, is the beauty of this show. I want to mention Masters Maples at mastersmaples.com. Got a great email from a loyal Frat Pack member and Garage Logic listener, Lynn Paulson. And she says, hey, I need to get someone to put me in touch with someone that can help me place an order for Masters Maples. Sorry to bother you, but you always do respond, Reavers. Also, I'm so glad to listen to your show each and every single week. You two sound like great friends. Thank you, Lynn Paulson. Lynn Paulson.
That was really nice.
You're awesome. We'll go to mastersmaples.com. That's mastersmaples.com and place your order. And right now is the best time to place your order because you know what? I got to tell you, there's nothing better than having the windows open and frying up some pancakes or some waffles and then dousing them in Masters Maples traditional pure maple syrup. It's the best that Minnesota has to offer. 100% pure maple syrup made right here in the great state of Minnesota. Actually, in Cohasset, Minnesota. It's about 3 hours north of the Twin Cities. And it's our buddy Ben. He is a huge fan of the show, and his personal passion for maple syrup led him to creating Masters Maples 12 years ago. And from tap to table, Masters Maples brings you 100% pure maple syrup. It's a gluten-free, natural sweetener that can be used in cooking, grilling, and glazing. And I got to tell you, quick aside, if you're a salmon fan like I am, just a touch. Just a touch of Masters Maples on the top of a grilled piece of salmon.
Oh, that sounds good.
Sweet Moses. Mother's Day. Gentlemen, gather around. Listen, Uncle Reavers. Grill up your gal some salmon, a little touch of it, and a little dash of Masters Maples. She is going to thank you in more ways than one. This is what I'm always doing. I'm trying to take care of my brothers out there.
There you go.
Mastersmaples.com. Place your order today and give the gift of the best. Masters Maples. Taste the difference. The Weekly Scramble. We'll be right back. You have a question that you would like to pose to the audience.
Yeah, I want to know what you think. I want to know what Sanders you hate the most.
All right.
Is it
Colonel,
Dion, Shadur, or Bernie?
Well, okay, let me start. Let me do my power rankings of Sanders in that order. I definitely don't hate Colonel Sanders.
Number one. He'd be the best.
What is it? 12 original. What is
Spices,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to argue at a bucket of KFC? So I definitely don't hate him. I got to admit, as much as I don't like flash and substance, when I was a kid growing up, I really did love Dion. Yeah. Prime time. I don't like what he's doing as a father and as a / quasi coach, even though I don't think he's a coach. I think he's more of a showman. I really don't like Shadur. I don't like everything he represents. I'll tell you a quick story. So lastly's probably Bernie.
Okay, Bernie.
So Bernie's the one I dislike the most.
He's the lowest, and we'll go to him. But why? What do you know about Shadur?
I have someone who works in the NFL. That's a good friend of mine. I worked with him years ago, and I'm not going to name the organization that he works with. That is not the Minnesota Vikings. And he and I were texting once the draft was over, because here's a dirty little secret about things like that. Once you get into draft season, don't even bother reaching out to the people that work in the NFL.
They're just so busy.
No, it's not even that. Everyone's on lockdown.
Oh, got it.
I'm not saying one word to anybody. And again, I've known this guy for 25 years, but he's not going to say one word knowing what I do for a living, thinking that it might get out.
Which it would.
But he told me such an interesting story. So he works for an organization that was not looking for a quarterback.
Okay.
But he told me that one of his good friends, who I know, but not as well as I know this guy, and he said they had interviewed Shedeur, and he was the most arrogant, obnoxious, dismissive?
Sure.
To the point where they thought, who does this kid think he is?
Wow.
And you're thinking, okay, when you're trying, these are job interviews, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be, when you're drafted as a quarterback in the NFL, you are, whether you like it or not, you are the face of that franchise, $1 billion entity,
multiple $1 billion,
right?
Yeah.
So you have to say, put on the face, do all the things, answer all the questions, be respectful. You would think anyway. And again, a lot of people bomb job interviews, but apparently he had turned off so many people that half of the league had just taken him off their board and said, why would we want to do? He's not good enough. There's a great line that I think I said this to you before the show. If your talent outweighs your distraction, you're an asset. Once your distraction outweighs your talent, you are no longer valued in that league. Sure. And it's so true because your window of playing professional football is so much smaller than everybody else that plays professional sports.
That is football. You made a very, very good point. Football is a true meritocracy. Whoever is the best gets the position, period. Right? That's period. And we know that from a simple story called Michael Vick, where Michael Vick was picking up dogs by their hind legs and smashing them to the ground if they were not good fighting dogs and killing them. And the NFL said, you know what? Mike is super fast, and he can really throw a football.
No, he did go to prison. He did serve his time. Yep.
Doesn't matter.
But
right?
Right.
If you had any bit of morality in that game, any bit of moral judgment in the NFL, they'd say, thank you, Michael. See you later. But what they do is they're a true meritocracy. They said, we don't give two craps about it, that other stuff. We can't. We're willing to swallow that ugly pill because you're the best at throwing that ball. Right. And Shedeur, I really thought about that. I do think a whole bunch of teams said, I don't want Shedeur because he's a dink. I don't want Shedeur because he's really aggressive and he thinks he's his dad, Deion, but he hasn't had this career yet, right?
But the other problem that many of these franchises were facing is the fact that Deion had made a comment saying the only way I would take a job in the NFL, meaning being a head coach, is if I could coach my son.
Yeah,
so most teams are saying, well, we're signing our own death sentence if we draft this kid. Because who knows if our owner's going to say, well,
got to go get Deion.
Now we're going to go get Deion because you can't get the job done with him as your coach.
Yeah, I never knew that. That's really interesting. Yeah. And he said, I wouldn't let my son play for certain teams, right?
But Bernie by far and away.
Okay, so I can give you a reason why I dislike Bernie, and my list is the exact same as yours. Colonel Sanders the best, right? I don't know if you knew this. Colonel Sanders started his business when he was very old, right? And like I want to say in the late 60s, Colonel Sanders started KFC.
Okay.
And then it had some success, and he sold KFC for how many dollars, do you think?
Oh, God. Don't tell me it's like $100 or something.
$2 million.
Wow.
Then as little as like 6 or 7 years later, it sold for like $290 million.
Wow.
So he didn't become like the richest guy in the world from KFC. And he knew that his company had chances to grow. But so I love Colonel Sanders.
And you love the story.
I love chicken. Yeah. I love Colonel Sanders' original spices. I think they're
fried
great.
Fried chicken's tough to beat.
Chicken Littles. The mashed potatoes, great. Everything about it is great. Deion Sanders, skilled athlete, right? Shedeur is a turd on the world of sports, right? He might become a great football player. I don't care. I think he's a dork. But I dislike Bernie so much for his complete and utter hypocrisy.
Okay.
And I know we have something where we can play this and explain his hypocrisy.
So you're talking about his appearance on the Fox News broadcast. I don't remember the name of the gentleman that was interviewing him. Thank you, Brett Baer. Thank you very much. Here we go.
Alyssa Slotkin, senator from Michigan, she said you shouldn't be using oligarch. It's over people's head. You've gotten criticized from other people. Free Beacon says Bernie Sanders spent $221,000 on private jets fighting the oligarchy tour, paid for by friends of Bernie Sanders. That you've spent millions of dollars in campaign funds on private jet travel over the years. How do you push back on both of those things?
When's the last time you saw Donald Trump during a campaign mode at National Airport?
No. It doesn't. But he's also not fighting the oligarchy.
No. You run a campaign and you do 3 or 4 or 5 rallies in a week. The only way you can get around to talk to 30,000 people. Think I'm going to be sitting on a waiting line at United, waiting, 30,000 people are waiting? That's the only way you can get around. No apologies for that. That's what campaign travel is about. We've done it in the past. We're going to do it in the future.
And you think that this is hitting a mark? You think it's scratching the itch that voters want to hear from?
I think at a time when the people on top are doing phenomenally well, when seniors, working class people are struggling, people want to hear action to stand up to the people who have the wealth and the power and create an economy that works for all of us, not just the people on top.
Well, Senator Sanders, I appreciate you coming on, talking about the issues, and we'll have you back.
Thank you very much, Brett.
Thank you.
The people at the top.
The people at Reavers, he said in that interview, do you expect me to stand in line at American Airlines when I have places to be with, we're doing these events all over the United States in a week. Do you think I'm going to stand in line at an American Airlines? What a hypocrite. A complete commie hypocrite. This oligarch tour, right? It's a small group of people having control of a country, organization, or of an institution. He is the head of the oligarch, and he's making everybody think that he's one of the masses, right? I can see why he loved communism when he was a broke loser in New Hampshire, right? I get it. He loved communism, and he thought, we can all get our bread from our bread lines, right? And he wanted everybody to stand in a bread line because there was bread at the end of the line. He sure in the hell isn't going to stand at the end of an American Airlines line, even though there's a flight for him. I'm not. How dare you suggest that? I'm Bernie frickin' Sanders. The only guy that could beat me in anything is Shadur Sanders with his arrogance. It is unbelievable what a communist turd this guy is. I just can't take his hypocrisy. If he just was a communist, I'd say, I get it. But now he wants to be a communist leader. And that's such bullcrap. I don't know how the world can stomach this loser. I don't get it.
And it is the mindset of the gaslighting generation that we live in, where, you can look at, and it happens on both sides of the political aisle, but I always look at what's the net worth of the person running for office that's trying to tell me that we're here for you, we're here for the common, and I could name off a litany of different people that are running for political offices, but he's chief among them, where he's fighting the good fight for the common soldier out there, for the common person out there. I'm thinking, wait a minute. Bernie, let me see if I understand this correctly. You've been in office since about 1856. Why haven't you fixed it? It's the same argument that I had with Joe Biden. Like, wait a minute. Let me see if I get this straight. You've been in office for 150,000 years.
Bernie's 83 years old. He has been in office since 1981. He was the mayor of Burlington, a no-nothing little town, right? Then he went to the U.S. House of Representatives in 91 and then became a senator in 2007, right? So he's been in politics.
He's been there ever since.
And he's been a loser, a useless loser. I'm pissed at him because how dare you say, do you think I'm going to stand in a line with all the other scum that are getting on an American Airlines
with the peons
plane?
of the world?
How dare you think that? I'm Bernie freaking Sanders.
Right.
You could take, if he was talking about himself playing football, he would sound exactly like Shadur Sanders, right?
Yeah.
This arrogant prick that hasn't done one thing for America.
He's been living off the government teat his entire life.
All he's been doing is living off the teat. He's made almost nothing his entire life. His net worth is probably millions and millions of dollars. I remember when the people were giving him a hard time about being a millionaire, right? And he said, well, if you write a book too, you could become a millionaire. It's like, that's not what you espouse.
That's not the point, yeah.
Your point is you want communism, and for anybody to call him just an independent is bullcrap. He's not an independent. He's a communist. He loves communism, and now he loves being on the top of the food chain in communism, right? No one hates the communists. I don't hate Russian people. I hate the communists that run and master over the Russian people, right? And that's what Bernie Sanders is. And for the life of me, I don't know why we even listen to this old fart loser commie. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Why pay any attention to him?
It's because we live in a society in which people are, unfortunately, they haven't found a way to get ahead. They haven't found that avenue in which they can create. So they're looking for someone to take care of them. And that's unfortunate because that's the society we have cultivated, where we haven't developed people to think for themselves enough. And that's a problem.
Sure.
And it's the controlling, it's the gaslighting, it's all of that stuff that goes along with it, where, oh yeah, He's right. To hell with that guy that's worked his butt off and made all that money. To hell with him.
The rich. Let's burn the rich. And Bernie says, yeah, absolutely. Destroy the oligarchy. Let's absolutely do it. But right now, I got to hop in my car.
I'll be right back.
And I'm going to go jump on a private jet because, as Bernie said, do you think I'm going to stand in line at an American Airlines?
Yeah.
What an arrogant thing to say. I literally don't know. I want to make shirts that say, do you think I'm going to stand in line at American Airlines and just say, number one communist in America?
What if that's our new Weekly Scramble t-shirt from the Minnesota State Fair?
Do you think I'm going to stand in line to see Mike and Chris Reavers? Not a chance.
We'll be right back with another segment here of the Weekly Scramble podcast. I was checking in on the Frat Pack 5000 Facebook page today. I got to tell you, this is the time of the year where I get super jealous of so many people. It's the spring break, and it's because how many weeks do your kids have left of school?
Just a handful.
I was going to say because I think a lot of people are starting to do their, I don't know if it's their early summer vacations and whatnot, but I get so jealous of the Frat Packers. I really, really do. When you see all the cool photos and whatever, so for those of you unfamiliar, it's the Frat Pack 5000 Facebook fan page, and so many people are checking in from so many cool places. We had a guy checking in. It was Dave. This is what I wanted to get to. He was watching the Leafs game 2 up in the BC, which is super cool. But all these neat little pubs, it makes me want to get in the car and see these cool places. Because I love nothing. Sorry, I love nothing more than random. Not even hole in the wall, but just random cool spots to just check in. I think it's cool.
We should just go find Frat Packers all over the place.
Sure.
Right? Just drive up to their house, knock on their door, and say, hey, it's Reavers and Mike. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Right?
What are you up to?
Every single Frat Packer I've met, honest to God, every one of them would say, hey, Frat, Reavers, what's up? We'd have a drink in their garage.
The photo I was looking for, and I think it was a Frat Pack 5000 member, or if it just was a friend of mine on Facebook, but they checked in this past weekend from the Kentucky Derby.
Yep.
And have you ever done the Derby itself?
I would totally love it.
And I know you would, because it's like right up. So I did it a number of years ago, but it wasn't the Derby weekend. It was, we just went there to Churchill Downs. Okay. And I can't even imagine the spectacle that must be on Derby weekend, because even being there when the Derby wasn't going on was cool in and of itself. And I just thought how awesome that would be to be able to be there for those couple of days. Now, granted, I prefer it not be rainy and muddy and all that stuff, but what do I care?
I had that nickname in high school. The best 2 minutes, I think. Isn't that what they say?
No, the fastest 2 minutes in sports.
Yeah, that's right. That was my nickname in high school. I don't know if you knew that.
I do now.
Okay.
Oh, you're the best. Anyway, but I just thought it was cool that to check in with all the people from the Frat Pack 5000 Facebook fan page. And by the way, if you'd like to join, either just send a friend suggestion to Mike or myself or both, and you're in. And then you'll get a number and you'll get assigned, and it's as easy as that.
I love it. People are making their own shirts. We are going to eventually wrap this thing into a bigger thing because it's very successful. The Frat Pack is really working.
Yes.
And some of the posts that came up the other day that I want to just tell people that I'm not doing this. A frat AI is jumping into our group.
No.
And it's saying like, hey, here's explanation of what's happening in this group, and it's like bourbon talk, garage talk, and it like looks at all the pictures and talks about them.
Oh, cool.
And I keep deleting it. I'm like, I don't know how to shut off this group AI that summarizes the group. I'm like, we don't need AI in Frat Pack, right? Let's just have it be. Although when we want to make a logo, let's use an AI logo. A lot of guys have already helped me do that.
Sure.
But other AI, let's just keep it normal and keep it. It's such a great group.
Yeah, it's fun, and it gives you that kinship of people that are just wanting to connect on an individual basis. I think that's really, really cool. One of the other things too, because of again this time of the year, I have to ask you a question. Am I a bad dad?
No.
Okay. So let's
hear though.
Let me be the judge. He's about to say. So the school sends out hey, do you want to help with track and field day?
Oh, yeah.
And this happened this was actually a school and a half year ago. So I was asked, hey, do you want to go on this retreat for blah, blah, blah? And of course, my son said, oh, Dad, we get to camp out and do all this stuff. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So same thing with track and field. They said, okay, but they only take, a couple of parents. So maybe they didn't see my submission, or maybe I just didn't get selected.
Sure.
And I thought, I really don't want to take a day off of work and stand outside and do track and field day and listen to everybody scream their head off and all that. So I just said, oh, yeah, I just didn't get selected. Does that make me a bad dad?
No. What makes you a bad dad is what I do. I never even or even see the email because I'll get emails that say, school, important, must read. I'm like, someone else in my life is going to read that. Right? Someone else is going to, and they're going to say, oh, they needed a lawnmower for the charity event for the thing. I'm like, tough luck. I'm so sorry. The $23,000 I spend for that school every year, go ahead and buy yourself a lawnmower from that.
Here's my store's address.
Yeah, that's not a real story, to tell you the truth. I'm sure I would actually give them a lawnmower. In fact, my kids don't even go to Nativity anymore, and I still give them a lawnmower every year.
Right. I guess it was more of the case of, okay, I kind of I do enough already.
Yeah, I do enough.
I already volunteer a ton of my time. I really don't need to devote.
Especially if you have to take work off.
This is for the parents that have that kind of time or maybe aren't as involved with their kids' activities. That's what I kind of look at. Because it's a one-day deal.
Here's a good thing. Here's this is me acting.
All right.
Hey, Joe, next Tuesday, I need to take the day off because my kid's track and field day at school, and I'm going to volunteer. And Joe might have a response like,
oh, he would say, are you bleeping kidding me? I haven't taken a day off of work for a kid in 500 bleeping years. That's exactly what he would say.
Well, that's what makes you a really good dad and a great guy, and you are the best.
Thank you, Michael. Please do us a favor, rate and review the show wherever you happen to be listening to the Weekly Scramble podcast. It does help other people find the show, and it really does help us out as well, and we truly do appreciate it. His name is Mike Fredoloni. My name is Chris Reavers. Thank you so very much for tuning in to this episode of the Weekly Scramble podcast. We'll talk to you again next time, and until then, cheers.